Hello and welcome to Save Your Bacon and Advice Comedy Podcast, where we think we're helping. My name is Will.
And my name is Zane, and just to prove that we really think that we can help, we even have these paper master degrees in therapy taped loosely to our walls, so you can tell we're both professional and self-sufficient. It's a really nice combo to have. And
yeah, that's true. I actually turned off my fan in the room because the tape wasn't holding.
Oh, wow. We gotta just loosely, because we don't want to throw it out there that we are licensed therapists. It's just a loose term. Speaking of loose advice, we've got a really just juicy question to jump on top of.
Oh, we're just going to start. Yeah, let's do it.
You ready for this?
Let's just,
This is on Reddit. This comes from user Krylu. And the question is, how do I survive airport?
Yeah.
The question, all right.
Yeah.
Follow up. Sorry for stinky English. I have fly to America from my country, which is a war. That country not there now, and my passport's stupid.
The country is a war?
Yes, the country.
Okay.
The country is a war. That country not there now, and my passport's stupid. I stuck at American airport and can't leaving. How can I stay alive? Nobody give me food. I sleeping in terminal now.
Oh no, this is. Let's laugh about it so we don't think too hard about the situation.
You got to think about this really carefully. They said they got to the airport. They're like, I'm going to fly back to my country. They got an update saying, sorry, your country is a war. And now,
how survive the airport?
Now your country isn't even there. That's
because it's war.
It's not there
now. My
now.
country has been turned to war.
Also, my passport's stupid. Also, my country has now decided to become war. Also, my passport's not having it today. Now I'm at airport. How do I stay alive? Nobody give me food, and I want to know what that means. Because he just man, I'm stuck here. Anybody got food? Nah, man, sorry. Or is he trying to pay for food and nobody's having it today? They're like, today is just not a day.
If I was in the airport, I think just knowing that it is like this large hub of people in general, the larger place you have with more people, the less trusting people are of others. So, that sucks. Zane, you've spent a lot more time in airports than I've had.
Sure.
Yeah. What are your go-to things that you think you know better than everyone else for airports?
Because I know better than everyone else. Don't have your cocaine on your carry-on because the dogs will smell it. That's a big one. That's my go-to every time. Because the guard dogs, also don't pet the guard dogs.
Don't pet them?
I've learned that one.
Did you actually try that one? Was that one real?
I've learned
because the other one wasn't. Let's disclaim.
All right, sure it was.
Sure, the cocaine wasn't.
Yes.
Tell me about the guard dog.
Oh, I got slapped by an aggressive little black man who was like, "Hey, that's not the way to do it." This is when I was younger. This is not like last year. I promise. It's like when I was younger and I saw a puppy, I was gonna pet it, and then that's why I was more afraid of the dog that I owned at the time, is because I was like, I'm not allowed to touch dogs. I get slapped when I do.
Really?
Yeah, I was gonna say I was a very gullible child, but I'm still a very gullible person, where I learned by something happening.
Yeah, when I was a kid, I actually got told by one of my neighbors who had a dog that if you stare into a dog's eyes, that's a form of aggression.
Oh my God.
And so I spent most of my child and teenage years just avoiding the gaze of dogs so that they wouldn't attack me, because I actually thought that looking at them is just like challenging them to a duel or something.
Did you challenge? Yes, dog, look at me. I'm staring directly into your soul. I challenge you at the highest of noon. Bring your best jousting stick. And the dog will
But the thing is, what did I have to do in order to make that neighbor be pissed off at me enough to tell me that I can't look at their dog?
What if you did?
That's what they were doing. What must I have done for my neighbor to be like, no, you got to stop looking at it in the eyes?
What if
that's not okay?
What if that's just the way he lives? What if he really thought that? What if he never looks at his dog in the eyes?
He never looked at his dog in the eyes.
I was going to ask, did you ever go through a dog park when you were a kid?
Did I ever? Oh,
did
no,
you ever?
not really.
You didn't have that
When
situation of you're like, all right, now we just gotta cross like the perfume thing in SpongeBob. Now we just gotta pass through the dog park. You're like, I gotta look at the sky the whole time. I can't. And you hear all these dogs running around. You're like, I don't know if they really care or not. I don't know if they're all staring at me trying to start aggressive wars on me. But I can't look at them. I can't do this.
It was more like if I looked at them, that was fine. But if they then returned the gaze, I had to look away. But I did get a dog when I was like 10, which was a couple years after that initial thing happened. And I thought for months when we had this, 1 pound puppy that I could not look at it or else I would unleash its feral rage. Yeah, I don't know. But that's all I have. Anyways, how live at airport?
How live at airport? Well, all I know is my parents have raised me so that we always get to the airport 2 hours early, which is
2 hours. I think that's pretty average, actually.
It's pretty average, but it's also a little sucky because every time you get there 2 hours early, you're at your gate in like 10 minutes, and now you've got an hour and 50 minutes of just airport time, which is either, there are a lot of plugs to charge my phone in, which will be my only amount of entertainment on this flight. But all of these plugs don't work for some reason. Like, there are a lot of plugs on the chairs and on the walls, but for some reason, none of them work. And then someone comes over and sits by you and is like, hey, you charging your phone? And you say no. And they plug their phone and they say, oh, and you say, yeah, it's because it's not working. I should have mentioned that earlier. And then you laugh, they laugh, and then they leave. And that was your only amount of entertainment for the rest of the hour and however long you've got to wait because you've turned your phone off so that it doesn't die on you on the airplane. That's one thing. So relatable.
Okay. I think that's very helpful for how to survive an airport. Yeah.
How to really survive an airport, though. There's a food court in every airport where
okay, you've probably been to a lot of big airports. I've been to some dinky airports.
I shouldn't really say every
small.
Airport. You're right.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking...
I've been to the small ones where literally all they have is like off-brand Caribou coffee. And like you might get a bagel.
All right. Well, if we're looking at this for the user's purpose, if he's flying to a country that's both a war and doesn't exist anymore, which I love how those two can somehow work together, that must be an international flight, right? So they got to be at somewhere like
It's a big airport. You're right.
It's got to be a bigger airport. So in this context,
tips for living in the airport.
Tips for living in big airport. Obviously, you say you can sleep in the terminal. That's great. Yes, claim your space.
Claim your space.
Territory
spread
is
out your
important.
clothes.
Yes.
Take out all your clothes and strew them about the chairs. Mark your territory that way, not another way. Don't be gross.
Yeah,
but
it's super important.
But if you do that, people will feel much less comfortable lying on them, and it is going to get busy, and you're not going to want to sit up. You're going to want to lie down. This is your home now. And if you lay your clothes strewn about, like, first off, they might come up to you and be like, sir, you have to move your stuff. There's other people who want to sit here. And you say, no, I'm sorry. I'm a resident.
Yeah.
My home is war.
Yeah. Sorry, a war. My heart it's just one of them. It's not the definition.
My home is a war. Sorry, stinky English. I don't. Yeah, that's my biggest piece of advice. Spread them everywhere. Get them
Spread them everywhere. Out. All right, tip number 1, spread them everywhere. Take that as you will. Tip number 2, mark your territory after you've spread them everywhere. Tip number 3, make sure nobody's interfering with your spread or your territory.
Well, yeah, because, I mean, you might want to just take it to a bathroom. Because if you're in a bathroom and you spread out there, claim a stall as your own, there might be some guards and things that are, if you're like just sitting in the seats of the terminal, they're going to be like, hey, you got to get off these seats. People need to sit here. I understand that. But if you're in the bathroom, you got everything you need. And if they knock and they're like, you got to get out of here, you can just respond saying, you don't know me.
You don't understand that this leads perfectly into the follow-up that I had. You're in the bathroom. This is your home. This is your property. If a worker of the airport walks in there, you have every right. And I'm not
trespassing.
I'm not advising you to do this. I'm just recommending you could do that if you wanted, because it's your house, your rules. So somebody walks in there, all of a sudden you have all the right to, strangle them and put them in a choker hold, like knock them out, take their outfit, and all of a sudden you're disguised as a worker, so now you can get their free lunch at the place that they were working. Boom.
Visit their family.
Yeah, you can go home, you can visit, you can get
their lifestyle.
Home-cooked meal, free Wi-Fi, free cable. You got the kids, and you could say, like, I don't know, I'm watching the sports game, so, like, not right now, maybe later.
Yeah.
You get the whole thing, the whole ordeal. Also, if you want to go the other direction, maybe a pilot walks in there. Bada boom, same scenario.
Oh.
All of a sudden,
you can fly back to war.
Your home's everywhere. You want to go back to a war? You can go back to a war. You want to go somewhere that's maybe a little nicer than a war? I think that you've got a couple options there as well. Check the catalog.
Yeah, I think that pretty well encapsulates it. I think that's pretty good. Hey, I have a question that I got given. First up, I want to say we received our first submission question from somebody neither of us know.
Yeah,
and that's so cool and exciting for episode 2.
Yeah,
we were like so jazzed when we texted each other, and Zane was like, "You don't know this person, do you?" And I'm like, "No," and he's like, "Oh my gosh, we got somebody who both of us don't know." But this actually comes. This isn't that one, and that sounds bad all of a sudden. But I have one that was also not grabbed from the internet and that was submitted to me. This is by J Jazzy Fresh. I've been told I do know this person, and the question says, "I've always wondered if humans had an esophagus that could handle swallowing food whole, like small oranges, cookies, and the like. Would the original shape still be preserved? We know a corn kernel makes its way through and comes out just fine, but would the small oranges come out fine in the same way?"
Wow. This is a very weird question because I feel like when you said swallowing a small orange whole, I feel like I've done that, and now I'm wondering if I don't have a normal person esophagus.
No. Yeah, so we can handle a corn kernel going down. Wait, pause. You've eaten a whole small orange?
That's what I'm
like
saying.
Whole without chewing?
That's what I'm saying. I'm a quick eater. I don't have time to chew.
You're gonna die, bud.
Dude, I know.
You're not gonna make it.
I know. I'm amazed. That's why I tell you I don't eat often. Like, fun fact for everyone on the podcast, have not eaten today. That's because less chance of a death threat. I'm keeping myself safe.
I eat purees of all my meals so that I don't have to chew.
But yeah, like let's look at the facts here, all right? If I eat pasta, don't have to chew it because it's pretty liquidy already.
Shut up.
Because I keep it in the water. It's like
I can't tell if you're joking at this point.
Boy, I am dead serious. Don't need to chew pasta. Don't need. If I eat apples, it's like take a bite and then the bite is good. This is very bad. I'm sounding like a horrible person. I promise sometimes I chew, but I'm just saying sometimes I don't. and so I feel like if you give me a little clementine, that's you don't need to chew that.
That's almost pure water. Down the gullet it goes.
That's almost what? That 98% water? Facts. It's not.
So maybe you were the right person to ask then.
Yes.
Because the hypothetical is asking if we did have esophagi that could just take a small orange or a cookie whole.
Cookies are so
would
easy
it come
to
out,
eat whole. What is wrong with me?
And I love this question because cookies and small oranges are definitely very different. And if you did this with a small cookie, I'd be infinitely more concerned. But the small orange is nonetheless horrible.
I can do everything, man.
That is the scariest thought, just staring at your neck, watching this giant lump slowly slog its way down your neck.
You said small orange, not giant orange. I'm not.
How small is a small orange? I'm thinking a clementine.
Clementines are like it fit in your palm, man.
How much smaller oranges are you thinking?
No, that's
Is that the way you're thinking of?
Yeah, that's easy.
You can nod down an entire clementine.
Like,
I'm shutting this down. No way, bud.
I think I can't tell if you're saying that there's no way I do it or that
believe
you want to cut me off from doing it like it's a bad drug addiction.
Both, I guess. This isn't the root of the problem.
This is the root of some problem.
It's the root of a problem, but not the one that we're concerned with right now. We need to give this poor man, J Jazzy Fresh, some advice.
All right, let's push this question to its extremes, all right? Would the esophagus, Marv, if it was able to... Now, if we were able to just swallow a whole watermelon, like to its extremes, all right? So we're saying all of a sudden, bada boom, our mouths can come unhinged and just take in a whole watermelon, and now our esophagus can take a whole watermelon and be digested properly. This is how this is working. Would the esophagus evolve to fit like, oh yeah, now we need to be ready for watermelon action? Or would it become like elastic, like a Mr. Fantastic situation where you have the ability to just kind of stretch to fit what your preference is that day of what you're going to eat?
I think the very uncomfortable question that we're starting to get into that I'm kind of afraid of is if you start putting larger and larger things down your throat, does it get easier to do that? And I don't know, and I don't want to ask.
If you want to go
that is definitely where we were heading. You're asking if humankind will adapt to the larger and larger things we're shoving down our gullets.
Wasn't that the question?
We're talking clementines and cookies and eventually watermelons. But
you got to start small to get big, dude.
So what did you start on to get to small oranges, Zane?
What did I start on? I probably just jumped into small oranges, dude. You got to have your first somewhere.
All right, so that invalidates your point. Very good.
Hey,
would it come out the exact same?
Jump from clementine to watermelon is drastic.
Yeah, but you jumped straight to clementine, and I wouldn't dream of that unless I wanted to wish my life away, which, yeah. You
got to be an adrenaline junkie like I. All right, go ahead.
I'm glad you get it that way. I'm glad you get your fix via clementine swallowing.
Hey,
you don't taste it, Zane. You get no flavor.
Hey, I'm not in it for the flavor, man. I'm in it for the rush.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. I heard you have some more for us.
20 minutes of this episode has been about airports and me swallowing food whole.
Yeah, we're off to a really good start. Hey, so I feel really bad that I teased out us getting a question from somebody we don't know and then immediately saying, this ain't it.
That was good.
So you should go ahead and give us that one.
All right.
What do you say?
Yeah, here. This is the question. It was emailed to us from Johnny Limpet. Thank you.
And what is that email address again that people can send it to?
That email address is saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com.
Also, I repeat, saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com. Send us your questions, concerns, love letters.
Also, yes, love letters, highly recommended because, Valentine's Day is only a month away at this point.
Right around the corner.
Also, you can tweet us the questions at zaneandwill. Also, Instagram DM, zaneandwill. Hashtag saveyourbacon. Hashtag zaneandwill. Whatever you think will get it to us easiest. Probably the email is the easiest one. For sure. We'll see. But there are many ways to get it to us. All right. This comes from Johnny Limpet, emailed to us. Thank you, Johnny. Saw you commented on the last episode. The subject of this email is statement, so already not a question. Bada boom. And he says, I think some opinions are objectively wrong. Like, if someone said Mad Max Fury Road is a poorly made film, their opinion is that Mad Max Fury Road is a poorly made film. While they may not find the movie entertaining or like the admittedly dull plot, their opinion about Mad Max Fury Road being a poorly made film is incorrect. The movie received many awards and much acclaim, with an 8.1 on IMDb and a 97% on Rotten Tomatoes, 8.6 out of 10
research.
Average rating. One could say that, based on evidence, their statement or opinion that Mad Max Fury Road is a poorly made film is objectively incorrect. All this to say, I think some people have stupid opinions that are incorrect. Everyone can have their own opinion. That doesn't mean it's right or that I have to respect it. Peace. P.S. Mad Max Fury Road is a cinematic masterpiece. So
Thank you, Johnny.
That's everything that Johnny had to say. Now, the follow-up there are two parts to this. Do you think that opinions can be objectively incorrect?
Oh, you want me to just start?
Yeah, that's an opinion. It's not like, oh yeah, water's so bad for you. It's like, no, there's a fact that like the body needs water. Like, oh yeah, this is the worst game in the world, where it's rated like the top game in the world. Like, is there?
Yeah, sure.
Where do you blur that line on opinion?
You might be getting into this in your second part of your question that I think you kind of alluded to, but we're dealing with the idea of when everyone else tells you it's wrong, you might be the idiot, and that's kind of the rule that we're like hitting here. That like, yeah, dude, totally, Johnny, I agree. I mean, it definitely depends on the context you're trying to apply this to, but like, yeah, totally. If the whole world is like, nah, that ain't right, and you're just like, no, I am, then I guess yeah, you might be wrong. But here's my second follow-up question, Johnny.
Please.
You're only giving opinion about their opinion, and that might be just
Whoa! I didn't even think about that. God, I told you I'm a gullible person. I don't think ahead.
That's why they pay us a lot of money.
That's why they pay you a lot of money, and they give me like the graham cracker Scooby snacks so that I can survive.
Yeah, fruit roll-ups show up at your door bi-monthly. Yeah.
Num.
And here, I forget what I was gonna say. Do you have a follow-up question for that?
I
feel like you do.
Not a good one. It's just very. It's very simple.
So what about Mad Max?
So what'd you think of the movie? No, yeah, okay. Actually, now I have a better follow-up question. Do you have an opinion on him saying Mad Max Fury Road is a cinematic masterpiece?
Johnny, you're trash. I'm just kidding. But no, I never finished the movie, and I know everybody loves it, and it's like super exciting, but I fell asleep.
All right. See, that's fair. That I guess that's a different kind of opinion.
It must not be that good, I guess. I guess it sucks, Johnny.
That is one of the only things that I hear all the time that I can't stand, of like that I didn't finish it or I fell asleep during it. So if it's not memorable, it must not have been good, because
if it's not at the frontal cortex of my brain, it's clearly not important enough.
I love the movie Prestige. It's one of my top 3 films, and my roommate's like, hey, I fell asleep during this movie when I was watching it. I don't remember much of it. If I don't remember it, it must not be good, right? Dude, I don't remember the Declaration of Independence thing happening. I wasn't around for it. I wasn't born for it. So it must not have been a good moment for our country.
Declaration of Independence is bogus. Prove me wrong. How about that opinion, Johnny?
Prove me wrong. I never thought it would be so simple, says Drake Bell. Prove me wrong. All right. Speaking of unbelievably hard to read relationships like ours with Johnny, even though man, I promise we were just joking, Johnny. Here's a question. Comes on Reddit. It's from Reddit user Cart Size, and the tagline is "The girl from McDonald's." It goes like this.
Ooh.
Today I went to McDonald's with my friends, and we ordered something, and we went to our tables. In the position where I was, I had full view of the kitchen area, and I noticed a very cute girl with the ponytail cocking, and it's definitely supposed to say cooking there, but it definitely says cocking. All right. So I noticed a very cute girl with the ponytail cooking. So I started looking at her a few times during our meal. Every now and then, she looked at me, and sometimes I looked at her. I love that part of this question because he's like, I looked at her. And every now and then she'd look at me. And even sometimes I would look at her.
Okay, can I stop really quick? I have a comment on this. So, me being the person I am, as awkward as I am, I realize that at this point in my life, my version of getting an adrenaline rush in me about flirtatiousness sometimes can just come from prolonged eye contact. And that's a really weird thing to say just like off the bat, but I was in a lecture class one time, and I would just look around because there's like 200 people in there, and a lot of times I would turn around and I would see this girl, and she would be looking at me and she would smile.
That's so sweet, man.
It's a very sweet story, but it scared the bejesus out of me.
No, I get it. I get it.
And it's the most irrational thing. There are like 2/3 of people who are probably listening to this being like, I cannot relate in the slightest bit. But believe me, for anybody who struggles in any way with meeting new people, interacting with people they don't know, like the idea, and I'm a pretty like outgoing person, but looking over, seeing a person looking at me and not looking away immediately, seeing them smile at me back is just like, ugh! Like just right down the spine of just like, I don't understand what just happened. So I get this, but here's the thing.
Hit me with it.
9 out of 10 times, if not every single time, for any male that just walks into a restaurant and starts staring at a girl behind the line, she's not looking back at you because she's like, oh, yes, look at him. It's usually like, why is he looking at me?
Or does
why
that
won't he look
customer
away?
need something?
Did I forget the sauce?
Did I forget the sauce? Is he
Was
mad
there
that I
no
forgot
pickles?
the sauce? Also,
he's looking at me knowing I flipped his burger wrong.
Very
I
important.
sneezed in that one.
Very important. How are you looking at her? Like, are you looking at her with like wide eyes and like a very Jack Nicholson looking grin? And she's like, "Oh God, what's going on in that guy's head?" And you're like, "Ah, oh, she's looking at me for like 2 seconds. Man, this must be it."
I've made it. Yeah, this is my peak. Yeah, and it really how you do that, you have no idea how you look. That's what I've learned about myself. You have no clue
Absolutely.
how you look in social situations.
Absolutely.
Like, I will stare at myself in the mirror and be like, yeah, Will, you're all right. And then I'll, like, go and get pictures taken of me. And I'm like, you are the biggest doofus the world has seen when I, like, try to just look natural and end up looking like I want to eat the cameraman.
Also, follow up before I finish the question. I know in high school, I always felt, I still do feel like incredibly judged when somebody looks at me. I'm always thinking, what is running through the head without looking at me? If someone
What's wrong with me?
Yeah, if someone looks at me and then looks at me again, I'm thinking, oh, they're definitely talking to their friends about like, oh man, that guy is like so fucking weird or something like that. I don't know, something weird like that. But there was a time where if I wanted to be like, oh, that girl is really cute, and for some reason, if you've never talked to them, a lot of guys would like stare at a girl, and then the second the girl would look back, they'd be like, oh no, man, I've been looking at a girl for like 3 minutes, and she just noticed. Did she notice the whole time? And she just been like, dude, you gotta stop looking at me. Now you're thinking, oh God, I didn't pay attention to class at all. This is bad.
But that's your way in, Zane. You stare at them blankly, and then when they notice and they're like, oh my gosh, what was that guy just doing? You go up to them afterwards and you're like, yo, I just want to let you know, I totally just zoned out, and you happen to be the path of least resistance for my eyeballs.
No, this is fantastic. I used to, in a social studies class, there's a very, very cute girl. And I was thinking, all right, I don't want to look weird, but I hate the fact that I don't get to like look at her cute face. So I like every
sunglasses to class.
No, every 10 seconds, I would stretch or move or something that allowed me to like, I would like look at the teacher and then I'd look over at her, and then like every now and then I would just like keep doing it in like a pace. So it was like, oh yeah, because my eyes are just darting around the room.
So you looked like you just had a tick?
Yeah, so it's just like, yeah. And eventually, right when I did it, she looked at me, and I was like, oh my God, that was as perfect timing as it could have been, and now I'm horrified, because she saw me just for no reason, when looking at the teacher, look at her the exact moment she looked at me. And I was like, I don't know if that was cute or if that was creepy, and now I'm too
Zane,
afraid to look back.
Truth, that's not as weird as you think.
No,
all you did was look over.
No,
and this is why looking at people is so dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of, gotta finish this question before I forget about it. We'll start back up from, I look at her every now and then. She looks at me, and sometimes I look at her. Mm-hmm. When we have finished eating and after putting everything in the trash, I notice her leaning against a column with her arms folded and looking at me. What did that gesture mean? That's the heart of this question.
Folding your arms is a defensive mechanism because you are literally terrified for your life. This woman did not get a job at McDonald's to look for a man. That is the advice you truly need.
I thought this place was called Man Donald's. The place where I get my man.
I thought I just walked into a Tinder. What is this?
McDonald's is real life Tinder, where it's like fast food, but it's also fast hookups. If you see the arms crossed and me leaning against the pillar, you know I'm down to clown. That's my description.
I get
my
off in
character
18
bio.
hours because my shifts are terrible and my job is hell. Yeah.
Meet me in the parking lot at literally 6 a.m. when I get off.
When you get off? 4 a.m. Meet me there, I guess.
I'll have some free chicken nugs. I'll have an 8-piece baby and have some of that good Szechuan sauce that everyone was so hyped about for so long. And you can have that all to yourself. You just got to meet me at 4 a.m. You down? You down?
All right, too sensual. Too sensual. Sorry, bud. You need to not do this. If you're gonna do it. I mean, I don't know. Literally, Will Palumbo has never gone to a bar, like on his own ever once in his life, or like even with friends as just like let's go out. That's never happened to Will.
I get you.
But McDonald's is definitely much less of the place than something like that, I would imagine. So maybe try another place, not McDonald's to the employees.
All right. Do you want this last question to be also kind of romantic related or definitely not romantic related?
We're already on it. Hit me with the romance, baby.
All right. This is just a tough one, and I love it. All right. This is also on Reddit, and this comes from Reddit user MXRacer888. Thank you for posting this. There's no context. Thanks. The question is, I've got a date tonight. What are some substitutes for cologne?
Oh, baby, do I have a story for this?
Really?
Oh, yes. Okay, so I still don't know what this substance is that I acquired, but when I was a freshman in high school, I did not have any cologne, and I desperately wanted to because I was finally being like exploring the idea of hanging out with women.
Exploring that hangout idea.
Yeah, just like group setting, sort
group
of like
setting at a Mickey
Smash
D's.
Brothers.
Arms crossed, got our 8-piece nugs. We out here
staring at each other from across the McDonald's. No, but we, I noticed that the other guys that were also hanging out with these females were wearing cologne, and I was not.
Right.
And being an overweight male, I produced a little more smell than the average person. So I needed it. And I recognized this. I was self-aware. And I did not feel comfortable just being like, Mom, Dad, I smell bad and need to talk to girls because I'm 15 and going through puberty.
Yeah.
And my dad somehow found this vial, like VIAL, this vial of some sort of smelly stuff. And I don't know if it was an oil or like a something you put in a diffuser, or like I think it might have actually been the scent for potpourri. Like you get it's like DIY potpourri sort of stuff. So you get pine cones and then you dump this on it.
Hi, this is my Etsy for DIY potpourri.
Hi, welcome to DIY potpourri.
Just
No, I mean, I don't know how they made this, but somehow I found it in my home, and I was like, hey, Dad, can I keep that? He's like, I guess, and I started putting it on myself. I brought it into class one day, in a social studies class as well, opened it up because I felt like I smelled bad.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody around me just goes, who smells like pine cones? The teacher stopped because he said, somebody just opened up like a dump truck worth of pine cones in this room. It didn't smell good. It was just what I had. So yeah, use potpourri, DIY potpourri oil. That's my recommendation.
Actually, I think what you're really getting at is have a dump truck worth of pine cones either on you in your pocket or out back, because they are a showstopper. Even if you're a teacher teaching the youth of tomorrow, they'll just stop and be like, hold up, yo, where all that pine cone steak coming from? Gotta know. Hit me with it.
Go get some essence of pine cone. That will work decently well. Just don't open it up in social studies class. But
I also have a story. I've had good experiences with colognes. This is the weird stuff, right? Because they're saying what are some substitutes for cologne? So this is weird. This isn't like I've used cologne, people have told me it smells nice. No. These are the stories of, I smelled this and it smelled real good. So I think it'll smell even better if it's on my wrists and neck and chest. It's going to smell a lot nicer. So I as you know, in spice cabinets and in the kitchen.
Yes.
This is already
your
a good
kindred
story.
spirits, Zane.
This is already a good story.
Essence of Pinecone.
Except, sometimes when you're cooking, there are ingredients that smell really nice, such as maybe basil or maybe oregano or maybe even vanilla extract. It's
Yes! Yes!
You smell vanilla extract.
We're changing our podcast into awkward teenage boy moments.
I've got too many. I took, because we had a little vanilla extract bottle where you could it was plastic and you could actually squeeze it, not pour it, so you could dab it. And so but at that age, I was like, I don't know. I didn't know people just a little one spray and then you rub it and everything is fine and you can smell it the whole day. I was like, I got to put on enough so that it sticks for the day. And so
But it's sticky and it's colors your skin, doesn't it?
Yes.
So you had to put it somewhere where people wouldn't notice, or else you'd have to tell them that you were bronzing your wrists.
I wish I could tell you I put it somewhere where people didn't notice. I put the vanilla on my arms. I rubbed it on my arms. And for some reason had these streaks, these colorful streaks going down my wrists. And I thought, okay, because I didn't wear cologne, I thought, all right, that's got to settle in.
Oh my gosh.
And so thankfully I wore a long sleeve shirt because I don't like short sleeve shirts for some reason. Every time I wear a short sleeve shirt, now I wear
true.
Burberry shirts over them because I don't like I don't know, whatever it is. Anyway, I have my long sleeve shirt and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is looking at my wrist. Oh, yep, nope, still bronzing. I don't know why it's not gone away yet. Does it smell good? It could smell better.
When will it finally fuse with my body?
When does the morphing happen? I thought we were supposed to combine.
When do I turn into part vanilla?
Anyway, bronze in my arms. It's sticking there. It's sticking to my shirt. I'm wondering, why isn't this going away? We get to lunchtime, all right? Sitting next to my friends, turn to my friends and say, hey, I got a real question. Any of you guys wear that smell good stuff, that cologne stuff? And they're like, yeah. And I was like, why isn't it setting in? It's been hours for me. And they're like, what are you talking about? It was sticky. It burned a bit. They told me it wasn't cologne. I told them, I know, it's vanilla extract. I just wanted to...
You guys wear that cologne? Because I do too, and mine's not setting in. That's not cologne. I know.
I know, but isn't it supposed to go?
I know, but crazy, right?
Also, I was wondering, do you think that the ladies are gonna like this? They said, I think if anybody saw your arm, they would scream in terror right now. And I was like, you're right. And I rolled my sleeves back up. I didn't roll my sleeves down. I didn't roll my sleeves.
What age was this?
This was probably 12, 13, middle school.
Middle school?
Middle school. I'm a smart man. Smart man.
When did you get your first real cologne?
When did I get my first real cologne? Sophomore year of not college, high school.
Oh my gosh.
Sophomore year of high school. That's when that's
fine if you don't believe in cologne. I still know people in this world today who don't believe in cologne.
What do you mean don't believe in it? Like it doesn't exist? Because I have news for them. Okay.
No, they just body wash and call it good. I'm sorry, I create too much stink for that to be a reality.
Same. It's the thing of, and I'm sorry, that's TMI, but the same of as soon as I started dressing to where I I want to look nice, as opposed to, I'm just going to wear a graphic t-shirt and bad shorts.
Literally the definition of high school Zane.
Because
up until... No, pretty much all of it.
As soon as I wore my first shirt where someone was like, there was a time, and you know this person, I won't mention their name, but as soon as this one person was like, hey, that's a really cute shirt, I like that. The second they said that, I was like, all right, I'm going to start dressing like this for the rest of my life. And I have.
I guess I've changed my whole ways for my entire life. I'm dressing differently, Mom.
I'm healthier.
We need to go to Kohl's.
I'm healthier. I smell better. I look nicer. I take care of myself. And it's all because one person liked one shirt that I wore one time.
Pay attention, women. That's the power you have over teenage boys. Use it wisely.
That's if you want to end this podcast on a high advice note, it is, girls, realize in a not... devilish way the power of one sentence you have that can make or break somebody in what they do next. If you tell them...
Use the power for good, yeah.
If you say, oh, you could use some cologne, they might rub vanilla extract up and down their arms. If you...
Don't say you should use some cologne. That is so many insinuations that could lead to just self-loathing for years. But be like, wow, I would really enjoy it if you smelled better. No, don't do that either.
Positive. I thought you were gonna say
something good.
I thought
to
you were gonna say like
the behavior.
Like, oh wow, you know what? You could really pull this cologne out. Like something that's like you could really make this work or something like
bring
that.
Bring in cologne. Buy $60 cologne. Yeah. Bring it in. Dump it on them accidentally. Say, wow, you could sure pull that off if you did that on the daily.
This one girl actually once did this thing where I was at my locker and she's like, "Do I smell Axe body spray?" And I was like, "I mean, I'm not wearing any." She was like, "I'm sure it would it'd smell pretty good if you started wearing it." And I was like, I don't know if that was an insult or if that was like, oh, you like Axe body spray, and that's the one key factor for you that's missing of my person.
Yeah, my most representative quality that I look for in people is Axe body spray.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank you guys so much. We appreciate you listening, getting this far. Once again, we are Will and Zane, and this is Save Your Bacon Podcast. Again, thank you so much for the amount of listens we've gotten so far. We just enjoy doing this so much, and we are going to continue uploading this on a weekly basis.
One more thing.
Monday mornings. Yeah, go ahead.
One more thing. Yes, Monday mornings, as you were saying, 6 a.m. Sorry to cut you off there. But also just an extra reminder of like every question that you have in your mind, whether it's just a question you have or something you want advice on, hit us up with it. If it's at our email, saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com, saveyourbaconpodcast@gmail.com, or our handle for Instagram and Twitter are both Zane and Will. You can DM us there, tweet us, hashtags Save Your Bacon, hashtag Zane and Will. And it doesn't even have to be advice or questions. If you're like, hey, I'm trying to get this, well, I mean, this would be advice, but another thing we had in mind of like, hey, I'm trying to get this business going. If it's just a random, it doesn't even have to be a business you're truthfully starting. If you find this, it's just like, hey, I'm thinking of starting this up. What are your tips for how to get this ball rolling? And you know what?
We're professionals. We know exactly what we're talking about with that.
Exactly.
We'd love to make you a success.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then also, lastly, what was I going to say? What was I going to say, Zane?
Just talking about.
Zane, what was I going to say?
We come out Mondays.
Oh yeah. Oh, last time. Thank you. That was exactly it. Wonderful. Or it reminded me at least. Last time we uploaded and we were just on YouTube, which I know is mildly inconvenient for people listening to podcasts in the car, and so we are now on iTunes as well.
Yep.
There's just a little processing that we had to do for it to get approved.
Yep.
And we are now up. We will have that up on iTunes. You can just search the exact same thing, Save Your Bacon, it'll come up episode 2.
Save Your Bacon, Will Palumbo, Zane Shaw. It pops up for all of them. Save Your Bacon, it's the #1 podcast thing on iTunes. It's wonderful. One episode.
Weird. It's almost like we chose to do that purposely.
Yeah,
right?
No, it's almost like it was like a metadata thing that we thought out. Oh man, that's so weird. Also, it will be up on Spotify eventually too. It's just got to go through a separate process than iTunes to get up on Spotify.
Yeah, so guys, thank you so much. We appreciate it. One more time, my name's Will.
My name is Zane.
And this is Save Your Bacon Podcast. Have a great night, guys.